Hello, Steve Artsy 9. I've been making videos about my experiences with meeting different celebrities and genre actors at conventions and stuff, and I did a video about being an extra on the Australian film Holding the Man. And one of the other things I did, which was fun, aside from being in some Pride marches and being on the live broadcasts of those, that I was also in the audience for a taping of the Footy show, which is this sort of institution sort of show in Australia which has been going for years. I think it's still on. It was on forever and everyone watched it. My mum used to watch it, and a friend had tickets for a filming to be in the studio audience, and I sort of was asked, and I said, well, yeah, sure, why wouldn't I? That sounds like fun. So I went. We were seated at a little table just near this walkway down to the main stage, sort of just in front of the stage, so we had a pretty good seat. We could see everything, and we're in quite a lot of shots, and I told my mum what I was going to be wearing because she was going to be watching, and I said, well, you have to try and spot me, and then you have to tape it for me, so I've got a copy of it. And she was happy to do that. I think she was kind of excited to have, like, you know, me at the show that she was like going to watch and all that, and spotting me in the audience, and that was fun. And I told her what I was wearing. I'm wearing like a purple shirt, and I'm going to have black fingerless gloves. So it was very easy when the guests were coming on and they were like shaking hands and high-fiving people. You could always see me because I was the one with the leather glove. And which did give me a weird look from Brandon Fevola when he shook my hand and that. And it was funny to see him sort of in his sort of football sort of persona, because I've seen him in real life just with his friends and that at I won't say what club, one of the clubs in South Yarra. So, and I've seen him a few times, and he's quite different in person to how he sort of was, you know, on the Footy show. And similar with Sam Newman, he used to eat at the restaurant that someone I was involved with used to run, and he'd come in and he'd just sit quietly in a corner, not talk to anyone. He was very, very to himself, and not at all like the sort of loud, obnoxious stirrer that his brand is, that his persona is, that his character is. And you sort of realise that it kind of is a bit of a character. So it's kind of interesting to see him, because between, you know, the scenes and all that and in the ad breaks, he sort of, you know, he was just sort of, it was like he was just sort of performing in a way. But he also was staring at our friend, who was very attractive, and a very attractive young woman, and pretty much all the time he was just staring at her. It was kind of creepy. But it was fun, just also because the studio they were using was the same studio that they filmed Hey Hey It's Saturday on. And when I was a kid, I always wanted to go there and watch that, because I watched that on TV. So to be in the same studio and to be sitting in the audience, and it was sort of, even though it's a different set and a different show, it was basically the same bleachers and the same sort of area, and that was just like a different set on the same stage. So that was fun. And I was nearly on actually the project, because when they had the premiere for Star Trek Beyond here, the boys, Zachary and Chris Pine, were going to be on the project. So I got into the audience. I found a way to get in, and I got the tickets and everything, or the seats or whatever. But then I found out they actually have an identical set. It's usually filmed in Melbourne, I think. They have an identical set in Sydney. So if they have someone famous coming to town, they can't get them to come to Sydney, to Melbourne, or if they're going to Melbourne instead of Sydney, they basically can just send the cast to whichever set they can get the star to, and then they do the show from there. So when I booked the tickets, I assumed they were going to be filming in Melbourne, which is where they usually film, but instead they were filming in Sydney. So I had to say no, because I just couldn't manage it, because I just found out the day or so before, so I had to miss out. But I still watched it. It was fun. You know, they did a good interview. It would have been fun to have watched it live, but it wasn't amazing or anything. But just being in a show, in the audience, being able to see yourself and just sort of seeing what it's like in for real, and, you know, then seeing it on TV is always sort of interesting. So if you ever get the chance to go to a live recording of a show, just do it. It's fun. I mean, being an audience member or being an extra is sort of, I think it's probably more fun than being one of the performers, because you just get to watch and hang out and enjoy the atmosphere and everything, as opposed to actually having to carry the scene or have the show, you know, basically on your shoulders. So I don't think the actors, it is work. It's not a lot of fun, whereas when you're just an extra or an audience member, it's just fun. You just get to hang out and just watch everything that's happening. You don't really have a job. You're not really, you know, so as much as I would love to be in a film and have a couple of scenes so I can look back and go, oh, there I am on the big screen or whatever, it's also very hard to get those sort of roles, and then there's all the pressure of performing, which is, I'm not a performer, so that's fine. It's just fun to sort of be in the background sometimes. But yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.